What's up, everybody? Justice here, your favorite life coach. I help leaders and entrepreneurs just like you figure out what's next, especially when you're asking, what now? All right, so today, we're going to talk about why I no longer listen to podcasts. Let's go! All right, guys, if you saw, this thing is titled Why I Don't Listen to Podcasts Anymore, or Why I No Longer Listen to Podcasts. I'll figure out all the catchy headlines after this video. But I was driving and this idea hit me. I was like listening to some stuff and I was like, man, it's been a while since I listened to a podcast. I wonder why. What brought me to the decision of not listening to podcasts anymore? And I have had a few coaching conversations where I realized and recommended to my clients they need to turn off the podcast and the outside distractions. So I want to talk to you guys today about why I did it and then share why I recommended it to other people. So for me personally, I am like a sponge. I love new information, especially the information that's about the thing that I'm most interested at the time. And so what I'll do is I'll go down this deep dive into everything about marketing, everything about whatever, YouTube, all the things. And then I'll start listening to like 3 or 4 experts, right? There's all these experts. And I'll be listening to everything that they have to say about whatever the subject matter is. And then they'll interview guests. They'll have these amazing podcasts. And it soon hit me, man, I'm not as good as they are. And then I start to compare myself to them. And then I can see all of the things that I'm not doing. So I compare myself and then I can see, oh my gosh, I'm not doing these things. And then the next thing is, ooh, that one guy on that one podcast said that you should do this whenever he was interviewed by the other guy on the podcast. And so maybe I should do that. And so I start seeing all of these shiny, amazing objects. All these things, all these softwares, courses, classes, because most of the people being interviewed on podcasts are just trying to sell something, which is fine. I might be that guy one day. And what they don't show you is that for years they focused on one platform, focused on helping one kind of person in one niche and just figured it out. And so when I listen to all these podcasts, rarely is it really helping me after a certain point. One of the really cool things about podcasts is you can learn a lot from them and they really help get you to a certain point. But then after a while, it can be too much. And so you listen to another podcast by another expert and he has a new angle, but it's really the same thing. But rarely do we see or ask the podcast host, how did you get where you were? And in order for you to find out exactly how they got where they were, you've got to buy their high ticket thing, right? And so are there amazing podcasts out there? Yes. Will I listen to podcasts again? For sure. But right now, and I think for most people, you're taking in too much information and it leads you to this place that I like to call paralysis analysis. Have you been there? It's this amazing island with everything you've ever needed, but you don't know which one you should pick. It's kind of like when you go, it's why I like going to Chipotle, because it only has a limited amount of options, and so you just kind of got to pick. You can't really go overboard. You can't really mess it up unless, never mind. But I still feel like when we go and we listen to all these other podcasts, they become more distractions than they are helpful. And so maybe it's you. Maybe you're like the self-development person and you're listening to all these gurus. And one person says you need to do meditation. And then another person says you need to do your affirmations. And then another person says, do you know your confirmations? You know, there's like all these things. And I am for most of those things. But when you get too much, it can really be overwhelming. And so that's why I stopped. Because I was comparing myself to people. There was like shiny object syndrome. And then it was like, I just wasn't taking action because I just was addicted to listening to podcasts. Honestly. And so I hope to come back sometime. I have my own podcast. And so I hope people listen to it, but I try to make it to where I just give a lot of help as frequently as possible. And it all kind of sounds the same over time. So the clients, I want to talk to you now about the clients that I said, hey, maybe you should pause. I remember one guy called me and he said, hey, Justice, you should listen to this podcast episode. And I told him, actually, I don't listen to that guy anymore. And he's like, why? I go, no, the guy's awesome. He does an amazing job. But, at the time, I just listened to him a ton and I was really insecure and I just over listened. It was like a bad taste in my mouth, but he's awesome. And so I actually would recommend for some of you that you need to turn them off. Like, figure out your path to success. Figure out the thing that you need. Now, some of you like those podcasts that are like stories, which are cool. They're just like entertainment. But most of you are actually listening to podcasts to hopefully get like one more insight. When the people that you're listening to their podcasts and reading their books, they figured out like the roadmap because they went their own way. Like, that's it. Like, marketing 101. You got to come up with a formula that other people can buy. So you package it and you say, this is my 3-step process to creating $1 million, right? So then everyone goes, oh, you have a plan because I don't. So you show me the plan. That's like marketing 101. You got to have a plan and a process. But the way that guy found that 3-step process wasn't by following someone else's 3-step process. They actually went and created $1 million and then said, here's my 3-step process. They did it their own way. That's why there's a million books on how to become a millionaire, because there's a million people that went their own way and did it their own way and therefore created a process that you can follow. But what happens is we trust more in the process than we do in our ability to execute and actually create $1 million empire or whatever it is. So we lean on the guru. We lean on the expert. We lean on the podcast. So when I say, hey, maybe you should pause listening to a podcast, how does that make you feel? Are you like freaking out a little bit inside? Like, no, I always listen to Jeff blank and blank or Sarah, whoever. They make my day. It's part of like my morning routine and they help me figure out this stuff and I do all these things. Well, what would be so bad about stopping? What do you think you're going to miss out on? Is it really just like is it FOMO? Is it a fear of missing out? Is it that you can't get anywhere without them? Maybe getting away from them will actually help you achieve the thing that they've achieved. And maybe when you achieve it, you can write the book about how you created $5 million and help other people become millionaires. Maybe it's you. Maybe you are the guru. So I just wanted to send this out because we have too much coming in. We have just too much. And as I'm starting to eliminate stuff, I love YouTube and I'm starting to slow that down and all these other things because I kind of want to figure my way. And maybe you need to figure your way too. And so maybe this all comes down to one thing for both of us, which is confidence, which really is the foundation for a lot of success. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. I hope you loved it. Follow it, subscribe it, all the things, because I'm your favorite life coach, here to help you figure out what's next, especially when you're asking, what now?